Chris Vannini, who had to pay to watch the game. He did pay for access, as some fans do. Chris, did you? That's not true, of course, but before we even get to the game, you did notice the fans who pay for press access. What did you see?
So I didn't notice because the Oklahoma press conference is in the team meeting room, so it's a big room. So I come in, I go all the way to the front, and in the back there's people decked out in Oklahoma gear, but that's not abnormal. You sometimes you don't know if it's family or friends or people who paid to be there. And Oklahoma's charging fans a couple $100 to attend the press conferences. You're looking for every dollar you can these days.
Is there any access you would pay for? I know most sports writers are not usually quick with the bucks.
No, absolutely not. That is, I'd probably lose my job if I did that. So no.
You would, by the way. I'm well familiar with your standards at the New York Times. Chris, let's get to the game, which is really what matters, and seemed positive from a distance. You were there.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma should have won that game by a lot more, frankly. They muffed the punt that leads to a Michigan field goal. You allow a 75-yard touchdown run that was like a third of Michigan's total yards for the game. So Oklahoma looked really good on all sides of the ball. The defense was very aggressive. It confused Bryce Underwood. Michigan's offensive numbers were bad, and John Mateer was able to hit explosive plays, which was my question going into the game, because Oklahoma was one of the worst teams in the country last year at getting explosive plays. You're not going to be able to go down, 10-play drives every time to try to win a game. They were able to hit some explosives in the passing game and the running game. And then at the end, they go on like a 9-minute drive or something like that to really run down the clock, kick a field goal, and ice the game away. There are concerns. They can't seem to run the ball if it's not John Mateer. He carried the ball 19 times in that game. The rest of the team had 21. You worry if that's going to hold up all season, just physically. But first test, Oklahoma passed it, and everybody's feeling pretty good right now going into what's going to be a difficult SEC schedule.
Before I get to the SEC, a quick takeaway on Michigan, which we didn't expect to be a dominant team, but maybe better than what we saw.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from Bryce Underwood. Like, his numbers aren't good, but he doesn't have really any playmakers around him, especially in the passing game, and that was pretty evident. You had McCauley make the really nice catch in coverage downfield, but he had to make a ridiculous catch. He wasn't wide open. Not a lot of guys are getting open, and in a road environment, there were times that Underwood would scramble out, keep his poise, find a guy downfield. So I think he's going to be good. You're just going to have to get pieces around him. I also have kind of some concerns about the lack of aggressiveness from the coaching game. They kicked multiple short field goals on 4th and short in Oklahoma territory when you're down multiple scores. And a lot of times they just ran the ball into a loaded box. So I'm not sure if they just wanted to really not put it on Bryce Underwood and just keep it close. But a lack of aggression from Sharon Moore, who will not be the coach for the next 2 weeks as he is suspended.
Yeah, that may be good for them. Let's talk about the big picture in college football right now. And I realize we all gravitate to hot takes. We're 2 weeks in. Just your assessment of what has changed the most for you, and what do you think about the contenders right now?
I think we've got a lot of contenders. Like I look at the top 15 teams in the polls, and I'm like, I could see any of these teams making a run to the semifinals. I don't think it's at all clear what's up at the top. Yes, Ohio State has a win over Texas, but the offense didn't do much in that game. We need to see more. Penn State, my preseason number one, hasn't played anybody of note. Stumbled a little bit against FIU, but we'll see when they play Oregon in a few weeks. Georgia, we'll find out this weekend. Again, haven't really played anybody. Kind of weird first half last week. Texas is still growing. Clemson, my preseason number two, has not looked great. You're trailing Troy at halftime. Is not what you want to see. The offense at Clemson is not at all what I was hoping for, with a veteran offensive line and a veteran quarterback in Cade Klubnik. The joy of the 12-team playoff was that you're going to have a lot more teams in the mix late in the season. And as I look across the country right now, so dozens and dozens of teams, like you could make the case that maybe they could make a playoff run because there's nobody who's really like stood out all that much. Partially because of who you've played, but even in those games we have seen, those top 10 matchups in week one, there weren't such dominant performances that it's a clear, this team's going to win it going away. So that's fun.
Chris, as you can imagine, the big theme so far here today has been Billy Napier in Florida. I don't know what you thought about them beforehand, but how would you assess that situation right now?
Well, it's obviously not good. You lose to a USF team you were 3 scores favored over. And I think the biggest issue we saw with Florida, and has been for a while, is game management. The way he didn't run the clock late in the game, the not using the timeouts as USF was driving, the decision to not go for a bunch of 4th and shorts, 4th and mediums in that game away, just kind of giving away possessions. I think it's that game management part that has always been the criticism of Billy Napier, whether it be special teams or penalties or certain stuff that's always just kind of tripped him up. And that did again here. It's not his fault the players spit on a guy, but he shouldn't have been in that close of his situation with USF anyway. I'm not going to rule it out. We saw what happened last year with the team and the way they rallied to save Billy Napier's job. But Florida's not in the business of saving Billy Napier's job every year. They're in the business of competing for the national championship. And coming into the year, this was a Florida team we thought might have a shot. And they've got enough good games on the schedule left that they can, win some big games here and there. And I wouldn't rule them out of those games. But it's the same problems creeping up year after year that hold this program back.
Yeah, I mean, we had a stat earlier, Chris. I mean, he's 500 as his 4th season begins, and I know he's been coddled a little bit by his bosses, but at some point, this doesn't seem to be an outlier. It seems to be a trend.
Yeah, and it's the situation he took over. He decided to kind of do a rebuild, even though we're kind of in an era of college sports where teams can rebound in a single year. But he got DJ Lagway. He held on to DJ Lagway, the jewel of this program right now. That's what you need to do. The player acquisition and player retention business, Florida has now stepped up in that. But it has to win games now. And to have the momentum of last year, to have all the positivity coming in, and to lose it, not just lose to South Florida, but again, lose the way that they lost, which it felt like you're not maximizing that talent that you have acquired and you have retained. That's the job, and it's very concerning right now.
Always great. Chris Vannini, who spent the weekend in Soonerland, and an amazing report. Thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate it from The Athletic.